All right. One moment. There was a question. Okay, just one moment. Oh, in the chat. Thank you so much. Who are the four? Okay, Pamela, we have you on the list. There is Isabella, and I can't say her last name, Ocon something. Isabella? Yeah, thank you. The third one, I'm blanking on the others. Geneva.
Amber?
No, Eric Roberts.
Oh, Eric Roberts and Eric Roberts. We can see that Geneva said yay. Pamela said okay, thanks. Geneva said smiley face. Great. Okay, so I'll leave the chat open. I didn't have that open. That's so clever of you all to be using that. So I'm going to leave that open. Okay, so moving on. Thank you for being power users. That's excellent. So we're going to take a tour now and look at how Grid works. If you can bear with me 1 minute, I'm going to jump over to IE. There we go. And here we are. So it's a web-based application, and you'll get there by going to a web address or URL as it appears right up here. And I made a favorite, so I think people are savvy enough that they'll make a favorite right away. You can just drag that down here and anywhere you want it to appear in your IE Explorer favorites bar. I have found that to be great.
One point about that too is if you just go to grid.powderedenergy.com, it'll take you to the full URL. So that so you don't have to remember all of that. If you just remember grid.powderedenergy.com, you'll get to the right place.
Okay, excellent, excellent.
HTTPS.
Okay, HTTPS. The S is important out in front. All right. So here on the home page, as you can see, it's pretty straightforward, very simple. The major buttons are right here. Search, right? Search for a document in 3 easy steps. And then we have submit, submit a document. And really, that's as simple as it is to actually use the application. Now, across the bottom, we do have 4 icons here, 4 buttons. We'll have online demand or on-demand training resources for you in the form of quick start guides, quick reference sheets, and also training videos, very short videos that'll show you how to do things. We'll also have resources and policies that'll give you some extra context and some perhaps deeper information about some of the aspects of the grid and saving documents, submitting documents. Both of these buttons here will actually allow you to contact the document management team and give feedback. And then if you need tech support and you click on this particular button, you will have an email open up to the tech support team. And it'll just be very important, and this will be in all of the documentation. You don't have to remember this particular part, but just remember that you'll have to use one of 3 different subject lines in order for the ticketing system to rank your ticket for the service desk in a high priority. So we have several subject lines like grid support search, grid support other, and grid support upload. And as long as you, again, do one of those subject lines, then you will, your ticket will have some priority. And you just don't have to remember what those subject lines are. That will be in the quick reference guides. Now we also have up here a tip of the week. So once we go live, we'll start having weekly tips, and we will likely have a series of them that come out weekly once we go live. And it'll be all about how to enhance your, what I'm calling it grid mastery. If you really want to be a power user, really know how to find your documents quickly, etc., and maximize the new system, we'll have tips about that on a weekly basis. Okay, so let's look at search. And well, let me pause there. Are there any questions? Geneva says, much easier this way. Great. Thank you. Like this view very much. Great. Yeah, it's very straightforward, isn't it? You can either search or submit. All right. So now we're going to take a look at search. I'm just going to click this button here. And there are 3 steps to searching. The first one, over here where it says step 1, is where you're going to choose a library. And there are fewer libraries than in the past, right? So a lot of what you'll see in the grid is that there's been a condensation. You know, we've gone from lots to a few for simplicity and for speed. And over here in step 1, you can check, well, by default, you'll see that everything is checked, right? But you'll also be able to hover over each one. For example, capital allocations request. And you can see the types of documents that are in that library. So you can say, okay, well, yeah, those are the kinds of things I'm looking for. And then if I scroll down,
And actually,
yes, go ahead.
There's actually more libraries. Just a few.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. Lori Ludlow corrected me. She said that there are more libraries now. There were only a few before. I switched that with some of our other things like project and doc type. Thank you. Okay, now in step 2, what you can do is put in a name or a keyword, or you can go down into this area and choose things from the drop-down menus like pattern entity, counterparties, and so on. I think that'll all look very familiar to you if you've been using Vault. And at the bottom here, you have effective date, from and to, and then search, and then home. So a little bit about these fields. Name is the file name, and we'll search the file name. And only the file name, I might add. The keyword field will search within the file. So within the documents, if you have a particularly unique search term, that it occurs inside the document, that's where you would put that in. The entity is the pattern entity, right? I don't think that needs too much explanation. Oh, you know what I'm going to add real quickly? I'm going to jump back up to name, because there's a really nice feature here where you can actually start filtering and narrowing your search results right away. Let's say you work on the South Kent project, every day. You're up to your ears in the South Kent project. You're always searching for South Kent project documents. Well, if you were to put in the SKW acronym at the beginning here, because that's how all of your desired documents are named, then in your search results, you're only going to see those documents for that project, right? Anything that has SKW. So that's a tip. Is there anything else to add about any of the fields? No? Okay.
Just the fact that they all do type ahead, so as you go over to those, you can obviously the more filters you put in, the more narrow your search is going to be. If you don't know the library that's in step 1, then you can just leave them all selected like they are right now. If you work in a particular part of the business where you're looking at drawings more often, or you're looking at the library you want to look in, then you certainly can choose that. Over time, you'll get more familiar with the library. So in the beginning, it might be easier just to search all of them if you're not sure, to make sure you can find what you're looking for. But as Lori McDaniel here just showed, as as you start to type the word, it's going to show you, what matches that. It's particularly useful for some of the fields that have a lot of values. For example, counterparties has a few thousand. So we had to do some special things there because you can't really work with a drop-down list of several thousand. So using this type ahead is key. And as Lori's showing you here too, the type ahead works not just for what the value starts with, but for any string value in the entire anywhere in there that it meets that word as you type it. So the type ahead search is key. And then as you'll see, and as you play with this, the more specific you are with your search, obviously the fewer result sets you're going to get. So this allows you to go really granular if you know exactly what you're looking for. It also allows you to be, if you're looking for groups of documents, it also allows you to kind of find larger groups of documents by controlling the filters here.
Pamela has a question.
Thank you. Pamela, it looks like you have a question. Do you have to pick an entity?
Absolutely not. You don't have to pick anything on here if you want. You could actually just hit search without putting anything in, and you're going to get a result of every single document in the grid, which obviously is not going to be helpful. But you can literally put only one. You can only complete one item in these filters if you want to. So you can see everything related to just one project. You can see everything related to one counterparty if that's the only field that you actually decided to complete. What I was trying to say was that while you can actually put nothing in or only fill out one field, obviously the more granular you get, if you're looking for a specific document or a very limited document set, your ability to get that meaningful result set is going to only get better with the more information that you put on this page in terms of the filters.
Yeah, that's a great point. You really do want to, well, you really want to maximize the opportunity you have to start narrowing your search results right here in step 1 and 2, as opposed to, oh, I'll just, throw something on the wall and then I'll start trying to figure out how to narrow the search results. The real way to maximize this is to go ahead and take advantage of these great search criteria fields and even the open, where you put in name and keywords, the open text fields. It'll really help.
There's over 100,000 documents now, so just to give everyone an idea of the volume we're talking about.
Great. All right. You're welcome, Pamela. Thank you. Okay, so let's go ahead and what we're going to do is put in, well, we might as well try SKW. That's a good one. And we're going to leave all of these checked. Oh, there are my gorgeous doc type things. There we go. Close those. And I'm going to just leave it at that and go ahead and click search. Okay, and here we are in step 3. It's pretty neat because in step 3 you have your search results off to the right, and you also here in the step 3 menu bar have a whole bunch of filters that are known as refiners, and they allow you to refine your search and narrow your search results. So for example, if I go over here, one moment, and I scroll down, what I generally do, this might just be me, but I'm sort of obsessed immediately with knowing how many search results I got. So I scroll to the bottom, and it looks like I have 3336 plus. The about, in my mind, is kind of like it's over that. And so, of course, I'm not going to be able to find my document easily, and I want to start refining with my filters off to the left. So over here off to the left, the first refiner I see in this case is project name. And these project names that come up only pertain to that SKW file name that I put in. So it has already started the process for you. I think that's fantastic. I love that I'm only seeing relevant things here. I'm not going to see things that don't have to do with SKW. Once I make a selection, I would then click Apply, and then I'll see, again, for me personally, I just immediately go down to the number. You might start looking at the actual documents if you're really familiar. So in that case, project name didn't help much, right? And then I can then take a look over here and start collapsing these menus with the little arrow here so that I can see my other choices of refiners. I might happen to know that entities, counterparties, document category, if I know my documents real well, I'll know exactly what to search for. You'll see that we have all of these regions and so on. If you see something on the left here that's blank, then that means that there's no relevant information or data or documents that have to do with that particular refiner. For us, it looks like we're actually able to, so far, we have stuff that we can choose in all of these different refiners, like recorded date and recorded and so on. But you will see sometimes like recorded might be blank, or recorded date, or one of original party. And again, that just means there aren't any documents that match that criteria. All right, any questions? And feel free to put your messages over the chat. We are checking that. And make sure you unmute. Okay, great. Are there any other, does anyone want to chime in with anything before I move on? Anything else to say about search results and refining? All right. So that is the realm of search that has the 3 steps, steps 1, 2, and 3. We're now going to jump back to our home page and take a look at Submit. And as many of you are real familiar with, you currently send documents or submit them, right? You send them to the document management team for uploading into the vault. So that's not going to change. You're still going to submit the documents that you want to have saved into the grid to the document management team. We now have this button here, right? If I click on Submit a Document, I'll go into the world of being able to submit to the document management team. Now, what we're looking at here is the Submit page, and it's divided into 2 halves. We have the top half, and the top half shows the documents that you have in process. Maybe you submitted them recently and they haven't been fully uploaded to the grid yet, and they will be sitting here in this top half. This is where you can still grab them and edit them or delete them, and that is different from the bottom half of the page down here. Sorry guys, I'm trying to scroll one moment. For some reason I can't scroll. There's not much more to see than you see here. Basically the bottom half of the screen is where you can see what you have submitted and what has been officially submitted, and taken into the system by the document management team. And just keep in mind that if you did need to remove or delete or deal with the document at that point, you'd have to talk to the document management team.
No, there's actually going to be 2 buttons available that will say remove and edit.
But not on the bottom half, right? At the top?
Oh, correct.
Right, okay, good.
You might be able to zoom out to see a lower piece if you wanted to show control mouse.
Ah, okay, gotcha. 1 second, everyone. I'll repeat what was just said. Just one moment, please. Now that's going to make things a little tiny, but at least you can see the layout. And yeah, I'll leave it on 75%. If there's an issue with that, if that makes it too small, just let us know. Okay, there's a question from Emily. Is there a size limit when submitting them this way? That's a good question.
In terms of the number of documents that can be submitted?
No, the size of the document.
Size of the document?
So obviously you got to consider the connection that you're connected. You don't want to drag and drop 10 documents at 3-4 meg each. You're going to be sitting around waiting around for a long time. So I would say anything under 10 meg is okay. But if you're doing multiple files, then please consider that if you're uploading say 5 files at 10 meg each, you're really uploading a file at 50 meg. So yeah, anything under 10 meg would be fine. Anything over larger than that, then just do it one by one. Don't grab a bunch of documents and drag and drop it into submit documents. Do it one by one.
The technical limit is by default 2 gig per file, and we can actually up that to 10 gig per file.
Please.
Which James will kill us. But
I'm talking about 10.
yeah,
you're talking about gig.
Yeah, right. So Jason's talking about the fact that if you were to upload something that large, with the speed that you might be connected, it might take a long time. But if you wanted to know the technical limit or the theoretical limit of what we have in place, it's 2 gig, and even that could be increased. But you're talking about the size of being able to store full-length HD movies up here effectively, which is not what we're going to do. But I think any size document that belongs here can easily fit here.
Yeah, and that again, that depends where you're connecting from. If you're in the office, you have a 10 gig backbone. It's much easier to upload larger files. If you're working from home on your DSL connection, then obviously you have a much slower connection. It's going to take a long time to upload files. So just be aware of where you are and the number of files you're dropping. Sorry.
So which library are the HD movies in again?
Everyone, Geneva.
Pattern BitTorrent.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Yes, thanks, Geneva. That's great. Get over DSL already. Is that what you're trying to say? Yeah. And I also wanted to just back up. There was I don't know if everyone heard that Lori Ludlow and Nick added, saying that the top half of the submit a document page, right up here, the top half, is actually going to have an edit button and a remove button. So that's coming. It's one of the finishing touches.
Yeah, they'll be off to the right.
Off to the right.
Yeah, the title, so.
Okay, great. Yeah, and that'll make it really simple. If your document is in the top half, it's still in process. It hasn't been fully, taken by the document management team yet, and you can still do those things with it.
Yeah, those 3 ellipses and the little document next to it actually are serve that purpose now, but we're going to break them out in the title a little better. So.
Okay, great. Okay. One thing I want to circle back to this and show the ellipsis. I'm going to circle back to that and what's inside there. I want to do the more basic demonstration of how to actually submit documents first. So in case anyone out there is wondering, what's the ellipsis? I will get to it. It's where you can enter in key field information. There are 3 ways to submit documents. The first way is a drag and drop right into this particular screen. And all you would have to do, and Lori Ludlow, sorry I'm putting a fake document in. Hopefully you can just clean that up. Your team is being the most patient. Really, all you have to do is just grab a PDF. Oh, I thought I had a PDF there, guys. 1 second. You just grab any PDF, and you're able to just drag and drop right into that screen. And so here I have my new one. It has a little, I know you can't really see that, but there's a little green star there, and that indicates that I just did that. It's brand new. And so now it's actually in the queue, and the document management team will see it in their queue. Another way that you can do this, right, the second method for submitting a document is to click on Browse. And this is a really standard browse to your document type of function. Am I on my desktop? I go grab my PDF and click OK. And it is now adding to the system. Now this will take you into where you can actually add a title, for example, or a name if you wanted to. What's nice is that when you see these key fields pop up, they're not required. It is helpful. You know, I think right now people will, in their email, specify what key field or metadata information is to be entered by the document management team. And so if you don't want to do that in your email and you want to throw some of that in here, you can. But again, it's not required. The third way is to send via email. And you have a send via email button right here. You click on send via email.
Do not show again.
Do not show again.
And allow.
Thank you.
Allow.
Thank you. That won't be there Tuesday. Normally it just goes right to it. So you'll see that it just opens up an email and it has the document management team email in the to-line, subject, and so on. So if you're already used to this process, this isn't changing. Is there anything to add about that, Lori? No? Okay. Anything else that you want to add at this point?
When we email.
Do you have
Okay.
a preferred method?
No.
The only thing I would say is that the first method you showed, as well as the email method, allows you to upload multiple documents to the grid at the same time. The example that you showed was just a single document, but you could go into a folder or desktop and wherever. You can actually grab more than one document and upload those to the grid at the same time as well.
Mm-hmm.
And as I understand it, when you email documents to us, it'll actually send us the documents and then the email as separate documents that are dropped into our queue. So that we'll, it's not going to send us an actual email. It's going to send us the documents individually, and it's also going to show the email as a .message document, I believe. So.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I was wondering if you could open up the document like you had before and show them when the metadata pops up.
Yes. You mean the ellipsis?
Yes.
Yes, definitely. So I'm going to click on the three dots here. That's called the ellipsis button for the moment. And with that, one second. One moment. Perhaps I need to zoom in for this one. What I'll do, oh, I see, I'm sorry. You know what, my mouse was on the ellipsis, and you know what I need to be on? That's the preview, okay? So that's a preview. And if I click on this button, which is changing, right, to the edit and remove button.
They'll actually both going to be changed, so there's going to be no ellipsis.
Oh, no ellipsis, okay.
There's going to be
Thank
an
you.
edit and a remove button.
Just edit and remove. And edit will take us here, correct? Okay, great. So here in edit, this is where the metadata fields are accessible. And by metadata fields, I mean these key fields here, like document type, name, title, project name, and so on. And so you have an opportunity to go ahead and enter these things as much as you can. It's not required that you do so, but it does save time on the part of the document management team, and it is really clear for them. They're not trying to figure out how to classify your documents. Anything to add?
I was wondering if you could open up a new document that you just put.
Sure. Okay, we're going to open up the newest one with the star.
Is that what you mean?
So if you notice on this one, the document type is is just a document, and that's the default type that it becomes when you put it in the system. And the one that she was looking at before had credit agreement, and it had many more fields. So when you first put in the document, this is all you have. If you want to put the metadata in, you first have to choose the document type, and then that'll allow you to see which fields you can fill in.
Can you do that now?
Sure. So I choose the document type, and I'll just choose, I guess I can just choose this. And then I will see all of the possibilities, right? That's what you wanted to demonstrate? Okay, great.
And the fields that are listed are appropriate and pre-configured for the document type that you choose. So project name, entity, counterparty, document category, regions, you'll see those across almost all the document types. But when you get into certain document types, such as agreements, then you'll see additional fields such as execution date and other things that are specific for that particular document type. So just note that those will change, but the goal of that is that the fields are appropriate for whatever the document type is that you've selected.
Great, thank you. Were you going to add something? No? Okay. Okay, great. So I'm going to click on Cancel to exit that particular box. And that is essentially what you have for Submit. And again, one thing I personally really like is that this bar of buttons remains visible throughout the program. And, you know, circling back to the survey that went out, and what people really wanted is a lot of support. So you can, in the application, just about any time, access all these support and resources and help, which is a really, you know, it's just huge. I think it's very, very wonderful.
Yeah, one comment about just why the submission process is something we looked at trying to change, just to kind of give you guys an idea. And we talked about it in a lot of the design sessions, but the idea was just that in the current state, when you send an email, you know, you kind of don't want to have visibility as to where it's at in the process. The doc management team also, once they upload it, you know, then if there's any questions or they need to get back in touch with whoever submitted it, they have to go back through this whole email thread. It's really not, it provides lack of transparency to the submitter, and it also creates more work for doc management. So the goal was to provide a way of submitting documents where the system, you know, by knowing who you are, by your authentication of the system, it knows who you are, so that when you submit it, it's tracking the person that created it or submitted it and when they submitted it. And then because we now understand that, now on this page, as Lori has shown, you can see where your documents are at in the process. So if they're still sort of in the working queue for doc management to review, then they're in that top half. And you can then also help them out by editing or providing some of the metadata, as Laura showed. Once it's been moved into the grid officially, then you see it in the bottom half. And then you have sort of your own record and your ability to see your documents quick and easy. But the goal of this, again, is that you get, it makes the whole submission process transparent, so that you can kind of see where things are at. You can provide metadata if you want and are capable of doing so. And then it also provides the doc management team a clear, really easy to see view of who submitted it and when, so that if they have any questions or there's any follow-up or anything else, they know exactly who to get in contact with without tracing the email back. So hopefully that makes sense. It's kind of why, as to why we did this and what we're trying to achieve by kind of overhauling the submission process. Although, as Lori shown, you can still do email submission if that's what you want to do.
Awesome, thank you. Are there any questions? I've opened up the chat window, and feel free to unmute if you want to ask a question that way as well.
Cool.
Okay. Okay, wonderful. And again, just feel free to interrupt. If you think of something and we're still talking, just feel free to interrupt at any time. What we have in mind for the power users after this is really to give you an opportunity to practice. We came up with a kind of a practice plan, and we also have some scenarios that we could run through for searching. Does anyone have, I'm sitting here at a table with a bunch of people, so I'm kind of looking around. Is there any preference as to what we do next? Does anyone want to see search scenarios versus talk about the practice plan?
Search scenarios.
Okay, great. Okay, so Jace, his hand went up for search scenarios, so let's do that, and then we'll talk about the practice plan at the end. So I'm going to go back to the home page this way. That's my way of getting there. I just kind of click up here. And one thing that we can do, if you can bear with me, we do have some fun training scenarios here where we have some pretend pattern folks and some pretend scenarios here to demonstrate how great it is to search within the grid. So in this scenario, this is about Hien in legal, and again, these are pretend people. I think all of us have talked to folks out there, and like I've met people in the kitchen and asked them about their experiences with faults, and you know, I sit next to a great person in accounting and talk to him too. So I think there's sort of an amalgamation of things that we've heard in these particular training scenarios. So Hien in legal. Our operations team has asked the legal team about what kind of credit terms Pattern has with ARMO. Hien in legal must research the credit agreement. How will he find this document? So we're saying that we're going to look in the finance documents library. We're going to put in the name or file name of credit agreement and use the keyword ARMO. Okay, so let's see if I can remember all that. We'll first go to search. Did everyone remember that? I tend to flip back and forth.
It's a memory test.
Finance, credit, ARMO. Okay.
Finance, credit, ARMO.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Oh, sorry, hold on. One moment. So finance documents are here. In this case, you know, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to leave them all checked. In a normal situation, you know, you could certainly uncheck, check, have multiple libraries checked, and so on. I'm going to jump over here and put in the credit?
Credit agreement.
Credit agreement, right. Credit agreement. So this is working under the assumption that the file name has credit agreement in it. And then I believe the keyword is ARMO, right? A-R-M-O-W. Pretty unique search term. That's a good use of the keyword field. So now when I click on search, let's see how we do. So here, and I'm going to zoom out and see if I can avoid so much scrolling. There we go. I think it's just my tiny laptop here. If we go all the way, 38, not bad. That's what I was expecting. Some people are just fine with scrolling through 38 documents, and other folks might want to refine. But essentially, you're where you need to be to find that credit agreement. And that was all in one step. Yes, it was, you know, entering in a few things, but as you can see, we went through, you know, what, 100,000 plus documents that quickly to get to 38. Any questions on that before I blaze ahead?
I just want to know one thing. You'd put credit agreement in the search, which you could do. You also could, under document type in that drop-down, maybe specify credit agreement there.
Oh, good.
So
great.
Just two different ways to kind of get to the, you know, two different ways to search, but similar results.
Yes, thank you. So I could have done it in doc type as well. All right, so Sally is in operations. And she often looks to the vault to make sure the numbering on task orders is consistent. She's working currently on the next task order for the Gulf Wind 1 project. How can she make sure her new task order numbers are correct? And so this is a similar search, but we're also going to not only use name, which is task order, we're also going to use the project name field and put in Gulf Wind 1. And then if we still have too many search results, we'll put in an entity or another filter or refiner. Okay, so we're going to jump over here. I'm going to go back to, I think the quickest way is to go back like this, but if anyone knows of a quicker one, feel free to shout it out. I tend to go back here and then go to search. Great. So now over here, I think we're going to do task order, task order. So the task order documents have the words task order in them, right, in the file name. And then under project, I'm going to type Gulf and see what comes up. Oops, one moment. GULF. Great. So here are my Gulf choices. I'm going to go with Gulf Wind 1. And I'm just going to go for it because let's say I know that it's going to be a manageable search result set. Great. So let's see how we did. I think we may have to refine. So let's check it out. 260, not bad. Not bad at all. And at this point, we can jump over to our step 3 refiner filter choices. And we could choose an entity, for example. We have all of these refiners over here to choose from, just as a reminder. In this case, let's say I know that it has to do with Pattern Gulf Wind LLC. Oh, and another reminder that all these things that you see in the refiners, they're only relevant to what you had put in step 1 and step 2. Is there a way to sort search results? To sort.
I remember you used to sending, at least with the old one, I think it was the newer stuff.
I don't know of a way to sort. Does anyone? I don't.
There isn't a way to sort. What will happen though over time is there's a ranking algorithm behind this, like what Google uses, that is meant to surface the most popular results to the top, and it even remembers who you are and what you clicked on most recently. So it's going to try to push those results up to the top based on similar searches and what people actually clicked on, what you clicked on in the past. So the idea is to try to surface the most relevant information at the top, which isn't usually an alphabetical sorting of it, per se.
No time frame?
There's a time frame for modify for a couple dates below for the date ranges that were modified. There's a refiner down, a couple refiners down. If you want to go down there, effective date, termination date, and those have those little. You can basically block in the sliders. Yeah, so you can basically, yeah, exactly. So earlier than a day, earlier than 1 week ago, earlier than 1 month ago, and then you can put that slider in from the on the left side to the right side as well. So that's an easy way to see those dates.
Okay, great.
Great. And how did we do with our second search? We got down to 7. So that was pretty quick. Okay, great. So those are our 2 training scenarios. We are almost at 2:30. So what I'd like to do is open it up for any final questions. I think what we'll do in the interest of time is we'll just email the attendees our practice plan. And it's just a way to guide you through some practice between now and Tuesday. And if you have questions, you can let us know. We do have a follow-up session tomorrow at 1:30. So Friday at 1:30 is a follow-up session for Q&A. If you didn't get your questions answered or if any new things come up, feel free to let us know tomorrow or even before then. So now I'm going to open it up to questions. And just remember to unmute. That's my particular favorite, is to leave myself on mute. Okay, Geneva says, any way we can play in this sandbox before our next Q&A session? You know what, I'm sorry, we won't be able to offer that until,
We'll let them know as soon as possible.
yeah, we will let y'all know as soon as possible. But if you have questions, we're happy to answer any questions you have. All right, any other questions before we wrap up? All right, well, thank you so much, everyone. Thanks for being power users, and we will see you all tomorrow.